The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? What happens when a young Canadian woman spends a summer of both personal and professional discovery? Well, it's not always pretty for sure as Amber and Scott discuss mile-end kicks. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
What is it about someone being described as the worst guy in Montreal that makes the women go, I must have him?
Women are complicated and make a lot of very bad decisions when it comes to men. And I speak that knowing that if we all look at ourselves honestly in candlelight in a dark room in the mirror and we ask ourselves that very question, we will all reluctantly admit that we have all made some really bad decisions.
Not me. I mean, I guess maybe by quantity, that would be proof that I have made some bad decisions.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cinema IRL. Our movie for this episode is Mile High Kicks, and it's about this young girl who is 22. Her name is Grace Pines, and she is a music reviewer and works for a website. She's written 400 articles in the course of a year.
That's a lot of fucking articles.
It is. And she loves music and she loves her job, but it also seems she is wound up in this relationship with her boss who, it seems more like a, I don't know how to say no and I'm just going along to get along, but I have no self-esteem or really self-respect kind of a thing.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely going on here.
Yeah. So we flash forward a couple of months, and she is going to, so she lives in Toronto, and she's going to Montreal to write a book on Alanis Morissette. And she's going to spend her summer there and get away from home and breathe in the artistic vibe of Montreal. And that's where she meets Chevy, the guy you're talking about. So you're saying you've never made a bad decision when it comes to someone who was very clearly just not right for you. If anything, might have been bad for you, or...
I mean, of course I have.
Yeah. It's sad to see from the outside. And I think most of us have had some period in our life, maybe probably in a high school or a college setting, where we could just see someone being used and passed around, and that they just want to be popular, they want to be desired, they want to be wanted. And when you look at it from the outside in, it's really hard to watch, because how do you help someone like that?
Yeah, they want to be popular, desired, and everything, and all the while the boys behind the scenes are calling them such wonderful, wonderful things as cum dumpster.
Yeah, and the part that's really sad about this film is Grace is a smart, pretty talented writer, and her initial project of writing this book, which she is now actually successfully pitched and sold to a publisher. She's gotten a $500 advance, and they're excited for her to write this book. And she just throws away this opportunity because she goes chasing after this guy in the band who could not be less interested, but is happy to use or abuse her to his own benefit and indifference.
Yeah, I mean, your self-esteem's got to be really low to hear him say, yeah, I just can't get it up for you. And then, like, want anything to do after that. Like, don't get
and
me...
that you stay. That's the heartbreaking part, is to see someone stay after that. And you know, you're 22. We all made a lot of bad decisions when we were 22. It's just, it's sad to see, especially knowing that is a very real circumstance for lots of bright, talented young women. I mean, Have you ever been in a situation where you were just putting up with something like that because, I mean, for whatever reason, you just wanted someone to see you?
And you just put up with whatever because the boss wants to sleep with me behind everyone's back.
Well, this goes beyond the boss. It goes to, this band. So she's staying with a couple for the summer, and one of them's in a band, and that's how she winds up meeting the other band members. And one guy who actually is a genuine friend and is there for her, and then the lead singer, who's the one you warned us about earlier, who is just, he's one of those guys that you can see girls want to be with, but if you're the girl who's not wearing the rose-colored glasses, you're like, oh my God, that guy's such a jerk. Why would you want to be with him?
So you asked if I've ever done that. Romantically, no, never. Non-romantic settings, especially business settings, yes, for sure I have.
Well, business settings are different. Someone's paying your salary. There's got to be a lot of stuff you don't want to do.
Well, no,
not including bending over.
No, I'm not
of course.
talking about an employee-employer relationship. I'm talking about just people you want to meet on a professional level, or you want to be seen, and you do things to be seen.
I don't think that's the same.
It's not.
Because you're looking to get something out of it, and unfortunately, our character Grace, I think she just wanted to be wanted and appreciated, and she wanted to have a good sexual experience, since it seems like the only one she really had was the very dysfunctional one with her boss.
Yeah, that's not a good way to lose your virginity.
Yeah. So what would you do if you were Grace and you were given this opportunity to write this book after you've already taken the first jump and moved to Montreal without really having that deal yet, without having anything solid, but just knowing that, hey, you're going to write a book, and then no sooner than you get there, you actually get the book deal?
So I will say all this. When you're at age 22, it is a time ripe for making mistakes.
Absolutely.
And you really shouldn't be too concerned about, whether or not this is a huge mistake. You know what? If you're 22, unless your mistake puts you behind bars, there's pretty much nothing you can't come back from.
Yeah, obviously, if you're 22, you have a lot of years to make up for that. But the point being is that it was a book that she decided that, hey, this should be a book. It was a book that she pitched to her initial boss. It was a book that she shared with a publisher who said, yeah, I believe in your vision for what this book could be. I'd love for you to write it. We believe in you. And that's very different than just making a mistake. It's like saying, I want it, and then just
getting it and then not taking it.
Yeah, it's just slowly but surely making decisions to hang out with the guy from the band. And I know, just to be very real here, when all of us at some point in our lives have had a crush on somebody, sure, you absolutely let things slide with the opportunity to spend time with that other person, to do things with that other person. But when that other person treats you poorly, and then at the end of the day, you don't have the guy or the girl, you don't have the respect, you don't have the book project, that's... Yeah, it's a 22-year-old mistake, but it's also one that you have to be thinking of okay, gee, are we going to make this a life pattern, or are we going to realize where I made a wrong turn here?
This is actually not an area I can speak of any experience in whatsoever. If ever I had someone who I felt like just wasn't interested, or God forbid treating me bad, I was just done. Just move on.
See, and I think that's probably the difference between boys and girls.
It is, very much so.
Because if you start pursuing a girl who's not interested in you, you are a stalker or a rapist or some other creep who has unwanted advances who can be picked up by the police.
That is extremely true. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're a girl, I have seen this so many times in my life. You want to be noticed. You want to be with the popular person. You want to be in the popular group. And girls make those decisions so much differently than boys. I remember there was this guy in college. He looked like a young Martin Sheen. And at the time, that was a big deal. And people would call him, his nickname was, this is so horrible. And I remember his actual real name, which I will not say here. But his people... Oh my God, this is so terrible. When they would talk about him, and you knew he was bad news. He was bad news. But everyone wanted to be with him. They would call him Risk the Disease.
risk the disease?
Yeah, so he was with a lot of girls, he had all the sexual diseases, but to be with him, you would risk the disease. He was risk the disease.
Is there a comma in there?
What do you mean?
Risk, comma, the disease?
Oh, no, it's not like a subtitle.
Okay.
But yeah, they called him, risk the disease. And that's how messed up girls can be. Because they just be like, oh yeah, it doesn't matter what it costs me, what the repercussions are, I want to be with that guy. And you've either been that girl or you've been good friends with that girl. And, there's a girl from my past who...
Did you risk the disease?
No, I did not risk the disease. But there's a girl from my past who very much falls into that notion of, she was the person who was passed around. And... when you start sleeping with guys who are in the same circle, do not be naive. You would know better. You can chime in on this. You guys talk. If you're in a group of guys who's friends and you start sleeping with multiple guys that are friends, they're going to figure out that, oh, yeah, who wants Sally tonight? Oh, yeah, I had her last night. You can have her tonight, dude. And there's always seems to be one guy who actually really likes Sally. And in this case, Sally was Grace.
Believe it or not here... I guess it's not really, believe it or not. I didn't have a lot of friends.
Well, you didn't have
so I didn't have those people, nor was I really in that group. The only time I ever had an experience even remotely close to this was when I had a roommate for a little while, and we both independently matched with and went on dates with this one girl. And he matched and went out first, and then
Where are you saying matched? Like on a dating service?
Yeah. Daniel and I both matched with someone, and I remember I don't believe that there was any actual, there wasn't really any tea to spill from it, because it didn't go anywhere for either of us. But yeah, I think there was some curiosity on his part after I went on the date with her. How was she in this? I couldn't even tell you anymore. I don't remember.
Yeah. Yeah, and if anyone hasn't experienced this firsthand, all you need to do is go to the movies, because there are plenty of movies where there is some girl who pines after the guy, and that there is a friend who is friend-zoned who would do anything for her, and she does not see him.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we have a show.
Yeah, and in this case, that person in this film was named Arch. Archie was also in the band, and... he apparently would go through the supermarket getting his groceries and see the produce section and wonder, what kind of melon is Grace's favorite melon? And he would see himself on family vacations with the kids running up asking them questions. And this is the guy that so many girls don't see.
Yeah, and you know what? Because if I'm a girl and I'm hearing that, wee-woo, 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 wee-woo. Run away!
See,
Run away!
And you guys have it really hard, because on one hand, if you are not in for just the fling, the one night stand, the get it and run, and you do see something bigger, yeah, it definitely is scary. I'm just dating. I'm trying to have fun and meet someone nice. I'm not looking to have 3 kids right now, especially if you're that age. So you guys are always stuck trying to find where that sweet spot is not to be the jerk and not to be indifferent, but to show someone you like them. But you can't show them you like them too much, because then that will turn them off of oh, well, he actually likes me, and either I don't want that or I don't like that, or you're the nice guy. And girls, especially around that age, frequently go for the bad boy.
Yeah, this instantly reminded me of one of those word memes that I saw once and I saved, because it's so freaking apropos in life, but especially here.
Okay.
It says, dating in the 21st century is by far one of the most ridiculous processes ever. People are so complicated. You must play games. You must lie. You have to act like you don't care, even if you do. You must date multiple people to keep the attention of that one, because it's generally just casual. You must be unavailable, because if you're too available, people get turned off. You have to ignore calls even when you want to pick up. Essentially, if you are a true lover, you have to resist everything that comes natural to you to play this fucking game you fucking idiots love to play. It changes everything for me to pretend like I don't care. I actually stop giving a fuck.
I don't know. You probably don't know this book because you're a boy, but it was a pop culture blockbuster book many, many years ago, and it was called The Rules. Did you ever hear of The Rules?
Oh, yeah. This is a book for guys, right?
No, it's a book for girls.
Book for girls?
Maybe. I'm sure that there's an equivalent for guys. But yeah, it was the rules of how you behave to make a guy want you. And it's that
there's definitely a male equivalent of that.
Yeah, you don't pick up the phone for this. You're not available if, with so many hours before something. And yeah, the games that we have to play, because heaven forbid someone likes you and you like them and you tell each other, oh my gosh, that's the word. Can't have that.
No, I mean, it's like I just wrote. I mean, it is. It's like I can't even tell you how many times I have to suppress. When I was dating, I had to suppress like what I really wanted to do.
What do you mean?
Like I might want to call somebody or text somebody quicker than I should.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, now I'm just going to look desperate.
Right.
And the problem, I probably hit that point because at times I did do the things that I thought I really wanted to. That came natural. And they did end up going the wrong way for me.
Yeah. That's the hard part is it's hard to win. Because if you call someone because you just really like them and you're like, hey, I really like you, I want to spend time with you, then that can also be perceived as clingy or needy or stalkerish or like, whoa, 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 whoa. And it's very infrequently seen as the compliment and more as the what's wrong with you.
Yeah, no, it's that's right there on the head.
Yeah. And unfortunately, what we see in this movie is you and I are talking about dating. This wasn't even dating. This was Grace trying to go after this guy in this band that she liked who clearly had no interest in her and treated her accordingly, treated her very poorly.
It seems like her real interest in him turned on as soon as her roommate said, no, he's the worst guy in Montreal. That's when it seemed like the light really shined up in her eyes. Like, oh, really?
Yeah, and there's obviously some damage that goes deep that Grace Pine will need to explore a little bit with a therapist because having gone down the route she did with her boss and then following it up with chasing this guy in the band and continuing to chase her to chase him time and time again, even after he keeps rejecting her and treating her poorly and being disrespectful and showing a complete and total lack of interest for her, and she still keeps going back for more.
Yeah, I don't even know if I have anything to add necessarily on that because, I mean, it's the nail on the head.
So what do you do, though, if you're Arch, the other guy in the band who actually really likes her, and you can see that she's all gaga over your bandmate?
So here's the thing about you're a little bit, and I say a little bit, I can't say anything because
Rose over hose?
She met Arch before she met Chevy.
Yeah.
And, like, they did this long walkthrough, and they came back to her place. And she's like, so, you want to, like, go inside and have sex? And I'm celibate. Why? Personal reasons. And literally find out that he's the guy who literally lives next door.
Yeah, and it turns out those personal reasons is that he has oral herpes. And, life...
Yeah, we don't learn that till the very, very end, which...
That's correct.
But, by the way, that's what lysing's for. You take the lysine and you knock that crap out.
Okay, we're not giving medical advice. Do not follow anything Scott does.
No,
you're not liable.
Oh, it's not a medication. It's a supplement.
Well, regardless, we do not give health or medical advice, so do not accept anything that we say on our episode as medical advice or legal advice or any sort of life advice at all, because surely you can find better role models out there than us.
I'm not Bill Handel here. Wow, that's going to be a
Wow,
reference.
that's a reference. Wow. Hey, kiddos, back in the olden days when we used candles as lights, there was this man, and his name was Bill Handel.
Handel in the morning.
And he did a talk show back when people listened to this thing called the radio, and you'd have a little dial, and you'd switch it, and sometimes it'd get fuzzy and staticky, and sometimes you get tuned in. And when you got tuned in, you could listen to Bill Handel.
Well, Handel's general morning show was okay, but his Saturday morning show was can't miss.
Okay.
Handel on the Law, where
You tell me your legal problems, I tell you you have absolutely no case.
Yes, which also came with a disclaimer.
Yeah, it did. Well, exactly. This is not actual legal advice. So I guess you have to listen to what Amber says. It's not actually medical advice. I mean,
so
do your own research and you'll find it's the same thing I just said.
All right. So another what would you do is all the while that Grace is in Montreal and she's trying to work on a book and she's pursuing the guy in the band, she's run out of money. And she is owed $4,000 from her former employer with the boss who used to bend her over the desk. And she hasn't gotten paid. And she's very sheepish about reaching out. And she gets blown off and she accepts it. What would you do if you were in Grace's shoes that had this sexual relationship with your boss and he owed you $4,000, and at this point now you haven't paid your rent now in Montreal for 2 months, you've been sponging off her food, you have no money, and you've lost your book deal, and they want your $500 advance back, and you have this $4,000 outstanding? What do you do? I know you as a person, but what would you do if you were Grace?
I'm pretty much what she did.
Well, it took her a while to get there, though.
Yeah, listen, you're trying to take the easier path of least resistance, and you're each time going to go with a path that's maybe has a little more resistance as you're going, because you want to just be like, hey, could you just get me that invoice paid? And they'll just pay it. And then you start to have to ramp it up a little bit. And then if you're just not getting, then, yeah, eventually you just kind of got to get there in that office.
Yeah, she ultimately does travel back to Toronto, goes to the office, sits down the boss, at which point he tries to blow her off saying, oh, I thought we already sent that invoice. And at that point, I think she's been through enough that she just says it how it is. And do you realize how you treated me and how it felt? And just pay me my frickin' money.
Yeah, she had a lot to get off her chest. It wasn't just the $4K.
Yeah.
Not at all.
And that was the turn of knowing that there is hope for Grace. Because using your voice to speak up for yourself, to stop just taking it because you think you deserve it or you're not worthy of more.
And fun fact, like Grace, I had a publisher who owed me $11,000 and they weren't paying.
Okay. What book was this?
It was a magazine I'd worked on. Unlike Grace, though,
you didn't sleep with your boss?
I never actually got paid on it because the company went under, and I was not being bent over the desk.
I don't know how to respond to that. Would it have been better if you...
Well, that was where I thought we were ending, but we're going to go a little further here now. What else do we have? What would you do, Meister?
Well, it ends with
us?
Grace. No, we're not going down that road. It ends with Grace finally being receptive to being with Arch. So if you're Arch, who at this point has basically been dismissed, even when you declare your feelings to Grace, saying, I've thought about you, I think you're amazing, and then she basically says, go away, get out, and then now she shows up on your doorstep saying, hey, let's hang out, let's spend some time together, I'm leaving, let's go, and then she's interested in you. What do you do? Do you give in, or do you just out of principle say, no, you lost your chance?
I don't believe in lost your chance.
Okay.
I mean, situationally, you can lose your chance. Like, you might be like, I want to date that person, and you don't, and then by the time you come back around to it, they're dating someone else, and then you've lost your chance in that way. But, like, if I'm still single, and I'm still interested in her, and I probably am going to be still interested in her, yeah. I mean, sometimes people take longer to come around on certain things. And you just kind of have to respect that for whatever reason it is. But if they do come, bueno.
Be open to love, even if it's not on your timetable.
Also, don't have serious conversations holding a vibrator. It just doesn't work.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.